from the News Channel 5 network. This is the Plus Side of Nashville.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this special holiday edition of the Plus Side of Nashville. I'm Tawanda Coleman. We have a fabulous and festive show ahead. You know, a holiday tradition that never gets old is decorating the house with lights. We're going to get the tip from how the pros do it. And although we love spending time with family during the holidays, there always seems to be that one family member that brings the drama. We'll get advice on how to avoid family fights. Plus, Ms. Cheap Berry Hands tells us where to find membership deals at Nashville's best attractions. But first, a holiday tradition that we look forward to every year on the Plus Side of Nashville is learning new recipes from health and fitness coach Dyan Damron. Welcome, Dyan.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Good to be here.
Oh, well, it's always happy to see you this time of year. We love your recipes, and many of your recipes are very healthy and nutritious and good for us, but you like those recipes, too, that are true holiday recipes.
That's right. Year-round, I usually try to go as healthy as possible, but I think there's just something about traditional holiday recipes. My granny and my grandmommy, you know, just things that I'm used to. And so I definitely think take steps where you can to make it healthier, but definitely enjoy the holidays and the specialness that brings.
I like that advice. Yeah. Well, tell us about this first recipe and the tip that you have for us.
Well, the first is not really recipes, it's just tips. I'm an engineer, and so I work a lot of hours every week, and so I need to be organized. And of course, as an engineer, I probably come born organized, but I think that it helps everybody, especially during the holidays. There's so much going on, to have a list. I'm a spreadsheet person, so I actually brought my spreadsheet from Thanksgiving that we had. And what I do is I just keep these every year. And this says Thanksgiving Lunch 2021, and you can see, I actually printed it, and you can see my writing and how I highlighted. But what you have here is the first column is the dish that you have. The second column is the ingredients. And then the third column is actually like what I call hardware, like the hardware that you're going to need. The dishes, which is very important to think about during the holidays, because there's so many dishes, what's going to need to be in the oven, on the stovetop, how many pans do I have, all that kind of stuff. And then the final column is your preparation, like when you do it. You cook it ahead of time, and the more you can do ahead of time, the better.
I agree.
And a lot of dishes get better the more you can make them ahead of time. And that means days ahead, even hours ahead, night before, setting things out. Yeah. So I think that's really important. And I keep these, I have probably a good 12 of them throughout the year. And then that way, so next year, 2022, I can go back and look and say, okay, well, we didn't like this dish, let's change it, or we like this one, and you already have your ingredients list.
That is a great idea. I am definitely going to try that, Dyan. And you're so right. Organization in the kitchen during the holidays is so important.
Very much. And it also helps with your grocery shopping, because a lot of times you're grocery shopping and you forget this, and a lot of these things, you know, and I've got some things we'll talk about already on hand, and if I have it, then I highlight it. If it's not highlighted, then I need to go and get it at the grocery store the next day.
And you keep that on your refrigerator.
I do. Once I print it out, it's put on the refrigerator so that I know and I can write and highlight and everything else. And of course, like I said, when the guests get here, I'll put it away, because I want to hide the evidence, look all organized.
Great deal. What else do you have for us?
So I just brought some things that I always have on hand, and just some tips that I think are very important. One is salt, and we had talked about this earlier, but salt, you don't really think about salt too much. A lot of times people just get the iodized salt. I use kosher salt, and I get the coarse kosher salt, and I use it for baking, for cooking, everything. And I buy it in this big box here, and I'll put it out in a container to use it. But I think it's super important because it helps you kind of control the flavor and as well as your saltiness. It won't increase that iodized salt flavor. The other thing, speaking of salt, that you always have to have on hand is chicken stock or chicken broth, and I get the low sodium, because again, you want to be in control of your salt. So that's why you're going to salt. You don't want somebody else to salt for you. And I usually buy a good 3 or 4 of these and just keep them in the pantry.
Yes, me too.
And that way, and I like these too because you can stick them in the fridge. The cans you can't put in the fridge.
True.
they're also easier to pour out rather than the can.
Yeah.
And then this here is 1% milk. I use 1% milk. I use it when I make my oatmeal with it. But I honestly don't think there's room for cream in some recipes, but when you're making anything for the holidays, I think 1% milk is perfectly fine.
And you don't taste a big difference in some of that?
I don't, especially if you're cooking with it. There's so many other, you know, you're going to use butter, you're going to use, if you didn't know, you just taste creaminess and you don't need that extra fat and thickness. Now if you're making whipped cream, sure, you're going to need cream.
It's going to need cream.
Yeah. And then the other thing is butter, and I get the unsalted butter, and I like these half sticks. I think they're so nice. That way it helps you. You don't have to pull out a whole stick of butter and cut it out, and a lot of times you only need 4 tablespoons at a time, something like that. Okay. And then cream cheese. Cream cheese we use a lot at the holidays, but I get this Neufchâtel cream cheese. It's a third less fat, and you cannot taste the difference. It's very creamy. I would not go fat-free. You definitely want to get just the lower fat. Okay. And you may see it, again, you can see this says 1/3, this says Neufchâtel, same thing, just kind of depends on the brand. Garlic, I don't like to chop garlic. I buy it from the can. It's super easy, and I like it. And then pepper. This is cracked pepper. I like to crack it myself. I think it's a big flavor difference. And then poultry seasoning. Just make sure it's not out, you know, it didn't like date in 2005 or something. Okay. And I like to use it just to help flavor things.
I love it. Great tips, but we got a great recipe too.
Yes, a couple of recipes coming up.
Fantastic. So we'll have more with Dyan Damron and her wonderful recipe when we come back.